Should parents force children to make promises? What do you think? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all about parenting, good communication, and how to build strong family bonds all over the world through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're talking about children making promises. In this video, we're going to be discussing promises. Why is it that we want children to make promises? But what could happen for the good or the bad if they do make promises to us? And is there a better way to communicate except for with all of this promise language? So why do parents want their children to make promises? It gives security. When somebody says, "I promise you this," you suddenly feel like, oh, you really care, you really understand, you're giving me some sort of security, something that's predictable. It seems like it's going to decrease anxiety. So here's the thing. Children don't just have anxiety. Although they do have more anxiety than parents, they're just normal people. Every person has anxiety. It's like a real thing. But children have more than parents, but parents still have anxiety about things. When a child is not doing their chore, for instance, right? So let's say that the parent says, okay, you have these two chores to do, and the child is not doing the chores at the time that the parent thinks that the child should be doing the chores. And they say, listen, are you going to get these chores done? Or do we need to stop this other activity? Like, you need to take some time away and go get these chores done. And when the child looks at the parent and says, I promise I'll get my chores done, then that makes the parent feel at ease, right? Like something's going to happen. But when a child is in the middle of a video game and they say, I promise I'll get my chores done before dinner, or before I do my homework, or before I go to my soccer practice, or whatever it is, does it always happen? No. Could the child just be saying it to push the parent off? Yes, that happens all the time. And if the parent says, listen, you need to promise me that before you go to soccer practice, you will have your chores done. I need to have a promise. And they force the child to make a promise. They could actually be forcing the child to lie to their parents. They could be putting the child in a situation where if the child isn't really fully invested in the chores, because quite frankly, they don't like the chores, they don't care, they love the video games a whole lot more, then they're probably going to just say it to get the parents off their back. And in the end, they've now made a lie, which has now ruined the trust in the relationship with the parents. So the parents were saying, I am forcing you to be a trustworthy person right now. And the child's like, fine, okay, yeah, I'll do it, I promise. And then in the end, the child maybe won't do it. I mean, they might too. It could happen. But that's a lot of emotional pressure to put on a person, right? Just to ease your anxiety. I don't know if that's a really great way to communicate with the child. In fact, I know there's a better way, and we're going to be talking about that. But before we talk about that and go into some more detail here about this lie situation that our child is in, click the subscribe button now. This channel is all about helping you have better relationships with your children and everybody else, and finding that power that comes when you have self-government over yourself. So click subscribe now. And don't forget that notification bell, because then you'll actually get notified when new videos come out. So if your child is lying to you, then suddenly you're going to question everything they say. Suddenly, every time you have to discuss some normal activity like brushing your teeth, doing your after dinner chore, getting your homework done, helping a sibling with something, whatever it happens to be, you're going to wonder if it's really going to get done when the child says, even if it's something the child is really invested in. Maybe the child is really good at homework or this particular assignment they're excited about, and so they're really invested in it. And they say, hey, I promise I'm going to get my homework done today. And you might be like, I don't know. So then you've got this negative mindset that's being pushed at the child. The child also feels a lot of pressure. So they get a negative mindset in their relationship with the parent too, because they feel like the parent is controlling them, when the parent is forcing the child to make promises that the child doesn't really care about making. So what do you do instead? Instead of making these promises, there are certain skills that you can use in your communication that will make connection more possible, open the door to communication, and help people achieve more. It actually is possible. And I've been teaching people these skills now for well over 20 years, and they work. No matter if your child even has a processing thing, difference like ADHD or ADD or ODD or OCD or RAD or FAS or autism, these skills work because they're very predictable, they decrease anxiety, and they increase bonding. So let's talk about skills. So years ago when I was doing treatment foster care, it was therapeutic treatment care for troubled teens, and raising my own children, and people were seeing these troubled teens change so drastically in my home, people started asking me if I would write a book about it. And I didn't consider myself a writer at all, but I did write a book. I've written 11 books since, but this book, the first one that I ever wrote, called Parenting a House United. Be sure to get the second edition because my writing did improve the second time around on getting it all cleaned up for everybody. This book is a bestseller. It sells all over the world. It's been translated even into multiple different languages. This book helps families unite by teaching them how to communicate in some of those sticky situations. It helps you develop a better mindset about your family interactions and helps get everybody on the same page. So I highly recommend getting Parenting a House United. You can find it for cheapest price on teachingselfgovernment.com, which is my website, and there's a lot of other helps there as well. So let's talk about some of the things in this book that you're going to want to be looking for. So there are 4 basic skills that I talk about teaching children, and they are following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences and disagreeing appropriately. When you're telling your child that they need to do something, such as a chore or homework or something like that you might make them promise to do, then really what you're wanting to do is give them an instruction. And they need to know how to follow an instruction. There are 5 steps to following an instruction, and if they can do all 5 of these steps, you're not going to have a problem with them doing what it is that you tell them to do. The 5 steps are: you look at the person, keep a calm face, voice, and body, say okay or ask to disagree appropriately, do the task immediately, and then check back. And I actually have a book that is dedicated to just teaching that skill. This book, London Lorraine Says Okay, is great for children ages 12 and under. It's about little London, my daughter, who learns the skill of following instructions. In fact, this is part of a 4-series set that teaches all of the skills to the 4 basic skills. Anyway, so she learns how to do those 5 things, and it changes everything for her. There's less nagging, there's less thinking negative thoughts about each other, there's less avoiding each other when a person just knows a simple skill like how to follow instructions. So a wise parent pre-teaches that skill. So in the book, Parenting a House United, I talk about 5 teaching styles that parents can use. One of the teaching styles is pre-teaching. There are 3 different ways to do effective pre-teaching. And what you're going to want to do is pre-teach the skill with instructional pre-teaching, and then in the moment use a situational pre-teach or a prep to prepare the child to use the skill when it's time. Then they should be going and doing the task immediately when they are following instructions. If they feel like they can't be doing the task immediately, then one of the steps in this skill of following instructions is to disagree appropriately. That's a whole other skill. So then they could be utilizing that skill to tell you why they think right then isn't a good time. And then you can work with them on the timing if you feel like you need to. But they also know with their disagree appropriately skill that they might have to follow the instruction anyway, even if they don't want to, because they need to honor the parental authority and roles in order to keep the function in the home. Now, make sure that you're not telling children to do stuff just because you have increased levels of anxiety. Like I said, we all have anxiety, but we've got to make sure that we are treating each other like the people in our family that they are. The children, they need to be respected as children, which means we need to honor their role as learners by doing teaching instead of just nagging and ordering around. Okay, so there is a difference about those things. That sounds like stuff for another video. So after you do the pre-teaching, you teach them the skill they need, and in the moment you prep them to use the skill when you tell them something that they need to do. Then, Afterward, you praise them or you correct them. Now, there are effective ways to do correction that don't involve getting angry. The child can learn cause and effect, even accept negative consequences, and not have to feel detached, emotional, or angry at their parents. And those are some of the things I teach in the TSG parenting course and in my books. So you'll definitely want to be looking into those. I'd also like to give you some additional help on calmness, because when a parent communicates with calmness and does the teaching with calmness, then that's one of the things that creates such a deep bond with their children. That tone element alone can bring people closer together during a correction instead of pulling them apart from each other. So I have a free gift for you. In the description below this video, there is a link to my Calm Parenting Toolkit. The link says teachselfgov.com/toolkit. If you click on the link to that toolkit right now, you can have the Calm Parenting Toolkit for free. This will be a great start to you on your journey to learning self-government and improving the relationships and communication in your family. Click on the link now. I'll see you there.